Welcome back. It's still Signature Morning on Signature TV. And right now we want to talk about the issue of flooding. I have a very interesting person to do this with us, right? She's a professor of applied climatology and environmental management. Just her smile alone warms my heart, and it makes me to know that there is hope for us against flooding. Professor Ugo Oyibo Chukwudelunzo, you're welcome to the show, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
It's been seeing the situation in the country. We've been having incessant flooding. First, what has been the major cause? People have been, there have been several speculations. What have been the major causes of these floodings?
Thank you very much for this time and the opportunity to enlighten us about what is happening in the environment. Just as you asked, flooding will not come if there is no rainfall. That is the nature of flooding.
Yes.
Apart from the artificial flooding, that once in a while, when the dams are overfull and through their management, they release water. At least that one is managed. But for the natural flooding we know, we only come once there is rainfall. And rainfall is a natural phenomenon whereby rain falls from the earth. As it's falling to the earth, it meets so many things in the environment. And that is why the issue of environmental management comes in. Because as this rain is falling, it doesn't have any particular direction it falls. So where it meets an environment that is still in their natural state, this water gets on them, it infiltrates and percolates inside the soil, and there is a natural processing of water recharge and the rest. But whereby through man's activity trying to modify the environment to make better for his own, he tried to cement most places, converting almost all the natural environment to man-made. So you see that when rain falls, there won't be infiltration. And the next thing is that there will be excessive runoff. And when there is this excessive runoff, and it's not channeled, and when there is channel, the channels are blocked, it now will lead to flooding. So it's all connecting in that for us to manage a flood in an environment, you need to know what is the type of environment. What is even the rainfall amount that comes in within this environment. Then you now start planning, or you now advise.
No, but I mean, again, over the years, it has become a regular occurrence in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Every year, as long as it's rained, there's always going to be flood.
Sure.
Why has it been difficult for government to even plan around making sure that people are, evacuated in these flood-prone areas, or people themselves who know that where they are actually flood-prone areas, they leave? I mean, why has it been difficult for us to plan in that direction?
Because we have not planned well, and we have not implemented some of this regulation. If you go to the environmental impact assessment rule, even people that live in flood-prone areas are not supposed to. And when they do, NIMET will always give you what we call seasonal rainfall prediction. That once it's March, at least we in Enugu, the rain starts coming, not minding the climate variability that at times starts around April. So the essence is that if you know that rains will start coming and you are living in a flood-prone area, you're supposed to make plan and shift. But most times people don't hear. And at times they hear, they don't even have alternative. And so the government's fault is that they are not implementing those rules to let force these people out, relocate them, do this, because you know that, look at our environment, look at the topography. And definitely because of the amount of rain that comes around us, this flooding is likely going to occur. Yeah. Before we even start thinking about the other aspects of managing the channels, are they blocked? Are they cleaned? Do they do the normal cleanup they're supposed to do, or do they pack their trash? What kind of people that live in a very hilly topography, like people in Ogun, how do they put plants? Because there is a kind of management you give to the environment so that you can accommodate the rains as they come, so that it doesn't come with force to cause flooding. And whereby that these actions are not taken by people around there, and government don't enforce them, there will continue to be flooding. Except when we do what we are supposed to do. because the facts are already there and known.
So who are the whose major responsibility is it? Because I don't know how to. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. Seeing the video we just saw,
Yeah.
it was the sight is terrific. Like
Yeah.
a whole area, an entire town. It felt like almost an entire state was submerged in water.
Yeah.
And I could see a bridge. The entrance and exit of that bridge was also submerged. It was just the top of the bridge that you're seeing. So it's a site that you wouldn't want to be in. Who should be held primarily responsible for this? Is it the government or the people?
If I'm allowed to speak, I would say it's the government, because
You are
like the
allowed.
flood you see,
Yes.
there are people that gave approval to build even right inside the river channel. So when flood come and they can't see the way to pass, the next thing is they will cover the environment. So if people in the authority don't give approval, and when they do during surveying, during mapping out of layouts,
Yes, ma'am.
they are bound to make ways for canal so that there will be easy flow of water. They still carve out those plots and sell it. Why not give nature its way so that water will flow? You even come across areas, check our new markets around the Gulf. You see people building right inside that river, Afia, whatever, Miroacha. And so when this flooding come, they will always collect to join their natural growth. And that will cause flood because the natural channel have been blocked. And as they say for our language, water no get enemy. So once you block the channel, it will come with force, and it continues to take up the whole environment.
So for you, what is the economic and agricultural impact
So many,
of this
even health.
particular- Yeah.
Even health. The floodplains are meant to be a very natural environment that have a lot of debris that will support agriculture. And supporting agriculture, like our leafy vegetables and all these people that sell vegetables, that is where they plant it. So when flooding comes, it's going to wash away their plants. They're not going to get their money. We talk about cholera everywhere now. This flooding can easily take things
Yes.
and spread it everywhere. And we take these vegetables from markets, and we even take some of these fruits, the garden egg, and eat. Those are also health impact that comes from this flooding because it was not properly. But if the channels were there and there's nothing blocking the route, and they don't build at the river channel, there'll be free movement and won't have some of this problem. And the one you spoke about, the bridge, you find out that the engineering aspect, they don't meet up to their the specification, how they should build, the quality of structure and even the height. Because in actual sense, for you to make a good engineering structure for flooding, you're supposed to meet a climatologist to know the amount of rain that comes there and to know the worst possible rain that is likely going to come.
Yeah.
With that estimation, you know what is likely going to come in that area. That helps you even in your reinforcement, in the height of the bridge, the topography of the environment, the soil type. You build out into consideration, and it will help you to make a very good
I'm
structure.
very, we're talking to a professor of climatology and environmental management. When you drive around town,
Yeah.
you will see some construction work going on, and there's this mark given to it to be brought down. Or
Yeah.
is it a sign of come and see us and settle us? It seems like that's what the sign is, because after a while, the sign is off. The construction still goes on. Does that say that the government is of a good government or a bad one?
It still boils down on implementation. Let us implement the rule. Let the right thing be done. Once something is marked bad, even in your assignment, what does it mean? It's not supposed to be there. And so let the right thing be done, and let the environment breathe.
And one other thing I want to, some people buy land. You go and purchase, you pay for a land and you don't know that landed property you're paid for. It's not a land, it's actually meant to be a drainage.
All right.
And, having the effect of what do you think should be, should there be like some sort of consolation given
There should be an awareness, and that is why it's part of my recommendation, because truly some people do things without knowing, but they say ignorance is
It's
not
not an
escape
excuse,
to the
yeah.
law. But then, somebody that wants to invest his money, I think should go
Make proper
make proper
investigations.
investigation, so that you don't just buy trouble for yourself. And again, the people that are at the implementation stage, and is it not somebody who comes to approve it, why not stand firm and say, please, this is not a place for residential or public building. Go another place. Look at it. So everybody has a role to play, because even with the government, it's still some of us that are still there. So we should stand our ground and let the right things be done.
How much of climate change you think can cause the severity of this flash flooding in Nigeria?
Climate change can be negative and positive.
Okay.
And once we are talking about flooding, as I said, it can come without rain. So as the rains increase, they are bound to be. And when these other environmental factors are also there. But if they are taken care of, there are what's possible cases of flooding that have been forecasted and taken care of. But when these other environmental factors, especially buildings or canals being blocked, there, you find out that even rains that cannot give flood might induce flood because they don't have their free movement.
What are the short-term strategies, short and long-term strategies that can be implemented to mitigate this flooding as we're seeing it right now? Because we are just only in July and we are not yet at the peak of rainfall in Nigeria. So I'm just wondering, and we also understand that hopefully the Cameroon Dam is not opened,
Yes,
or some
it's
other
not yet
dam is
open.
not opened, and you know,
That's the land.
and because these things happen every year these days, and then you wonder whether someday we will not wake up with our feet all in the
Submerged in
submerged
water.
So I'm just wondering, what do you think are the short-term goals and the long-term strategies to be implemented so that we can have, you know, a secured environment devoid of submergence of water?
Yeah, the short-term goals are clear, and then we start with keeping all those drainages around us very clean, and people who have blocked it somehow should find a way of getting it right, so that at least water will see their way, and then we'll start living very conscious of what is coming down in an environment. And then the long-term ways is using engineering methods to get them carried along, and but some buildings that obstruct must have to go. So the awareness is also very important, because at least some of them that also live in those flood-prone areas, especially among the vulnerable, don't even know what is happening. So we need also to educate people around that this is the season, it will come again, and so why not start early to do things?
Okay. 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 So because we are rounded up now, but you know it's upon us, right?
Yeah.
What should, in just one sentence, what should be done? What should the victims do? Those people we are seeing now, what should they do, or what should be done for them?
Yeah.
To wrap up, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, the victims should leave their place, at least keep safe first, and thereafter start planning how to relocate themselves, since they know that their area is in the floodplain.
I better still
Then-
just learn how to swim. So.
For how long are you going to swim? And
In what
what are
kind
the
of water?
health implications
Yes.
of that water that is there?
I mean, it's your environment, you live there, so you already know the terrain, so you can swim through those
Man is
places
made
and-
to modify his environment to suit him. So if you're having challenges in your environment, move. Be alive first, and then the other one. And then government must have to play a very major role. They just have to through all those implementing agencies, so that things can be well. Because if government does the right thing, those people will not live there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. I want to say a very big thank you to the Professor Ugoibo Oku Delunzu. She's been amazing with the thought on flooding in Nigeria, and we hope that some of these measures that she's mentioned will be taken very, very seriously. And we also call on everyone, it's also your duty to keep your environments very clean. At least do yours first. So maybe, hopefully, the natural disaster wouldn't come through your homes. Many thanks for being part of it. We're back shortly after this. Stay with us. There's still the Signature Morning.